All right, so why did the people on the boat make the decision that they made? Well, what motivated them? It might be reputation. So if you are a family member and you have, even if you have family members on board, you might be tempted to blow up the criminals because you want to save your family. But then there's this thing called shame. This thing called shame. And shame is extremely, extremely important. There's a reason why we experience shame. When we experience shame, it is our brains acknowledging that we have had a fitness reduction. Those around us have judged us, or we're judging ourselves. We're holding ourselves to a standard. Our selfish gene holds our behaviors to a standard because it knows that when we don't behave to that standard, society will judge us and our families. And so you can see in a lot of Japanese cultures, for example, they're very big on shame. There's ritualized suicide, for example, when members of a family dishonor the family. The only way to regain that honor is seppuku, ritualistic suicide. They go to extreme lengths to regain a family's honor. Honor is everything. Shame is really awful in societies like that. And in every society, we try to preserve ourselves from shame. So shame is like a natural barometer that the brain uses to judge how well we have managed to invest our fitness in the future by people's judgment of us. And so perhaps they were hesitant to press the button because they didn't want the shame. And they didn't want the shame brought to their family and their extended family. And they didn't want to reduce the potential of genetic amplification in that way. And you see, that sounds ridiculous, right? Because if you have your family member on the boat with you, then why would sacrificing yourself help you? Wouldn't shame be better than losing like a child or losing yourself? Well, that is because we evolved in the past. And in the past, in those tight, small groups, reputation, shame, family honor were the most important thing. The most important thing in societies. There was nothing more important than family honor and shame. If you've dishonored your family, if your family is dishonored, you decimate their ability to survive and reproduce in small groups. We are still set up. We are still evolved from that time. The selfish gene may be a puppet master, pulling our strings of emotion and pulling our strings, making us perform certain acts of kindness, but a lot of those strings are being pulled from a different time. And we're not the same creature anymore. We're not living in the same time. And this has created really novel behaviors that don't necessarily just promote our own survival and reproduction. They have become new and unique and vestigial. Vestigial means an evolutionary leftover. And so that is most likely why these people on this boat did not pull, on either boat, did not pull that lever. They did not pull the lever because of the vestigial, the vestigial selfish gene actions that are still firing within our genes. So is this an example of altruism? Absolutely. So yes, both sides are being very altruistic, sacrificing their own lives and those that they love for an ideal that brings them honor and saves them from shame. And can evolution explain these choices? Yes. As I just said, we evolved to resist shame, resist dishonoring our family. We have evolved to honor our families, create good reputations, invest our fitness in others. And it is such a strong evolutionary force that is so ingrained in us from a time of being small groups that it has become a huge part of us. And so I like to conclude this by saying that yes, our actions might be rooted in the selfish gene, but those roots have grown into something else. We are not just the selfish gene. I believe that selfish gene might be the roots, but what has grown from it is very beautiful. And I think that altruism in its truest form, altruism without the anticipation of any reciprocation. This means anonymous donation. That, in its truest sense, is what it means to be human and what separates us from beast.